feel like these 10 huge books are just mocking me from the shelf. Hey everyone, welcome back to Andrew's Wizardly Reads, and as always guys, I am Andrew, and today guys, we've got a chunky book list. But before we get into that, please like this video and subscribe to the channel, as it does help the channel grow, and you can check the description box down below for links to all of my social media, including information about my Patreon, and the link to the Discord if you want to chat on a more regular basis. We would love to have you there. We got a great community in that Discord, and it's a lot of fun. And that said, guys, we've got some ground rules to lay. Basically, I've got 10 chunky books, and trust me, I scoured my shelves. I have 10 chunky books that are kind of bullying me every time my eyes just kind of connect with the spine. And in order to qualify as chunky book, it must be 700 plus pages. That was the limit I put on chunky. Anything from 500 to 600, that's a big book. But, I mean, in fantasy, that's kind of standard, in my opinion. You can feel free to debate me about that in the comments down below. Please let me know what you consider to be a chunky book. But these are my 10 for right now. And, of course, I'm always adding books to the collection, so this could just 100% change. Now, the goal of this video is for you guys to kind of let me know what you think I should prioritize. And I've got some ideas, and I'll kind of give my thoughts on why I haven't read specific novels, or if I've tried some of them and why they got kind of put back on the shelf to try again later. But feel free also to let me know in the comments what you think I should prioritize, and if I hear enough kind of votes for a certain title, I will choose that one. Now, we're going to start off this list with one of my favorite authors, Stephen King. The man's bibliography is massive, and he has got some big old books in that list. But the one for me is going to be this big boy right here, Under the Dome. Let me just show you the pages. You can see the spine. Obviously, this is a chunky boy, and it comes in at 1,000 plus pages. And I've known about this for years and years and years. It actually came to my attention when the TV show came out that I never watched. But I hear that this is an amazing story, and the ending just kind of isn't quite all that good, which King has a reputation for not nailing the landing on a lot of his books. But, I mean, the journey is well worth the time invested. And Under the Dome is just something that sounds amazing. I've read the first chapter 3 or 4 times, and then I just kind of go, that's a long, long book. And then I wimp out, and I have been kind of needing to come back to Stephen King for a while, because I've kind of fallen off on my King reads. I need to kind of show him some more love. I've still got like 20 plus King books on my shelf over here that I haven't read. In fact, I think it's more than 20 books. I've only read up to, I think, 32 Stephen King books, so I've got a lot of ground to make up on. And I believe this is the biggest of the King books left that I just haven't dived into, and I really, really need to. I'm so incredibly curious, and I have been since I purchased it. We're gonna pop it right there. Ooh, that thing is, it's heavy. My arm's gonna hurt by the end of this video. Next up, we've got this big boy. We've got Bastion by Phil Tucker. Now, I have read about 20% of this book, and then my attention just kind of went somewhere else. I felt like there were some breaks in the story where it just didn't flow specifically well. Scorio's an interesting protagonist, but I don't really quite know what his goal is or where he's going. I know it's supposed to be kind of a progression style fantasy, but the transitions seemed a bit rough. Now, this is right up my alley, though, because, again, it is progression fantasy, and I do like the main protagonist of Scorio. It's just got some abrupt moments in it where Scorio will make snap decisions, and I just don't know kind of how I felt about that in the moment. Plus, there was just other stuff that was calling to me, and it kind of just got gently placed back on the shelf of, we'll revisit that a little later. But, I mean, look at this cover. This thing is a stunner, and it has got some chunk. Let's give you some page count, too. 797 pages, so probably closer to 800. I wonder if, 822 pages. I was wrong. That looked like a sliver that I missed, and it was actually a substantial number of pages. But yeah, this is a beefy boy. Book 2 is much shorter, so book 1 is kind of a barrier to entry. But again, I just want to showcase that cover. Isn't it so cool? Oh, that one's dope. Now we've got this one. Don't get mad at me. This is making the list. I read about 5% of this book, and then it got put back on the shelf. That is Pillars of Earth by Ken Follett. There's just some heavy male gaze from the first protagonist that you meet. Tom is married. He's got kids. He's an older gentleman. He's been with his wife for like 20 years. He's got like 3 kids, 2 miscarriages. Like, he describes his wife as his soulmate. And then, like every female that Tom lays eyes on, he just thinks about going back and getting horizontal with, if you catch my drift. And I'm just like, bro, could you just stop for a second? And so Tom wasn't my favorite individual in the story. And yeah, I don't know. It got put back on the shelf because I wasn't in the mood for something like that. I know it was very common to write like that in the 80s, and this is also a generational story, so there will be other characters other than Tom. But I thought the writing was very good. I thought the pacing was good. I just didn't like Tom in the moment, and so I just shut the book and walked away. And I know I need to come back because this is considered one of the best books ever, like, released or sold in Germany, which that's where this book got, like, popular, because it was a word-of-mouth kind of deal back in the 80s. I was actually reading the foreword, and Ken Follett was just like, yeah, I didn't think Pillars was going to do well, and then it got, like, took off in Germany, and that's where it really found its audience, and then it became just an absolute cult classic, and it became a worldwide bestseller from there. But yeah, Pillars of Earth, I really want to come back to it, but I need to know that I'm going to get something different other than Tom, which I've been told that I will. All right, next up we've got Dark Theory by Wick Welker, and then also, like, Pillars is 1,000 plus. And Dark Theory is just shy of 800 pages at 774. Look at this chunk. Look at that beefy. But look at that cover. This is sci-fi with, like, AI robots and broken civilizations and galactic wars and stuff like that. Like, ever since I've heard about Dark Theory, I've been interested in it. It's just got a gorgeous cover. It's got an amazing premise. I've got the audiobook and everything that goes along with this. I just really want to check this out. On the fringe of a broken civilization, a robot awakens with no memories and only one directive: find his creator. Like, that just sounds dope. But again, the size, like, I don't know, like, I like my sci-fi to be kind of shorter, and so being confronted with such a beefy sci-fi, I find kind of intimidating, and I'm just kind of nervous that it's not going to kind of drag me through all 775 pages. But if you think I should dive in, please, again, let me know in the comments, because it just sounds really cool. Next up, we've got The Trials of Ilderwood, Spectres of the Fall by S.C. Selvin. A, great cover. B, I know that this is a kind of YA trials and tournament type of deal, to be like a chosen one. For nearly 10,000 years, the trials have been a sacred tradition. Like, that is my jam. I love that kind of storytelling. I'm currently in something like that with the Arcane Ascension series, but this one is just something I haven't picked up yet. It's been on my shelf for over a year, and I constantly look at it and go, I should pick that up. Why haven't I picked this up? It's self-pub, it's indie, and it just sounds amazing. And I like the fact that the spine is meant to be, like, displayed kind of like this. You can see the one is perpendicular to the spine. Spine. There we go. Perpendicular to the spine. So I feel like I should be storing it like this, but I have it on its spine or on its edge, and I don't know if I'm doing that right, but that's kind of nifty where it's like, hey, you could totally just display it like that. I don't know. Now we're just talking about displaying big chunky books and how to do it right. Next up, we've got J.V. Jones, A Cavern of Black Ice, coming in at 720 something pages, or it might be 730. I don't know, 720 pages. I know that this has been on my radar for 3 or 4 years now. The series isn't quite complete yet. The author took a very long break, like George R.R. Martin length break, and is just now coming back to the series. I believe the next one is getting ready to release in the next year or so, so I decided to pick it up physically. And I know that J.V. Jones writes really dark stories, so I get intimidated by those currently because dark stories really aren't to my taste right now. I know if I start noticing a lot of darkness in a book, I will just go ahead and put it back on the shelf. But I am willing to try darker stories and just see if I can sink in and get invested before I kind of get pushed away. But yeah, this one, like, I love this hardcover edition of this. We've got some like wolves on the cover. We've got just all sorts of awesomeness in this beautifully illustrated hardcover edition. I love it. Surprising nobody, A Storm of Swords by George R.R. Martin. I've mentioned multiple times on the channel that because I watched the show first, I got to an argument where Tyrion's fighting with his father over his kept woman, and I was just like, I shut the book and I just walked away, and I never came back to A Storm of Swords, despite the fact that this is supposed to be one of the better books in the series. Although I think I prefer Clash of Kings, honestly, because I really liked Clash of Kings. Like, that book was awesome. I need to come back and finish up A Song of Ice and Fire, but I mean, it's not like I'm in any rush and that like Winds of Winter just got announced, because it didn't. Surprising nobody. But yeah, I would like to get caught up on A Song of Ice and Fire in case it gets announced, which is just not gonna be a problem. But yeah, that makes the list, coming in at, yeah, I don't even need to tell you how long this book is 1,000 pages. I got about 30% into it, which means I've got about 700 pages to go, but it's been like a year and a half, maybe 2 years, so I would need to fully restart A Storm of Swords just to even try and read it. But we'll see what happens and what you guys say in the comments down below. This one might surprise you guys, but we've got Empire of the Vampire on the list by Jay Kristoff. And I know a lot of people have told me, Andrew, you're not going to like that book. Well, I won't know unless I try. A lot of people that I trust really enjoyed this book. It's supposed to be bloody, action-packed, full of just vampire goodness. A lot of swearing. I know it's supposed to be very dark and all sorts of stuff, and I just did a whole spiel about dark books. But again, I want to give it a shot because I feel like I'm missing out. And this is, is this illustrated? Is this the illustrated version? I mean, it doesn't say that it's illustrated, but this is illustrated. That's surprising. I got this half-price books, and I didn't even realize. You can see right there on the spine all those black lines. That's a ton of illustrations. Sorry. Ooh, that's very cool. I like this. I like the art style on the inside of the book. I never even flipped through it. I just saw Empire of the Vampire and picked it up. It's a really cool art style. Huh. How about that? I just found out I had an illustrated edition. Didn't even know. But yep, that is on the list and in contention. And then we've got 2 books left. We've got James Clavell's Taipan coming in at just over 900 pages. I've been needing to come back to Taipan since I believe I read Shogun. And oh, my book's damaged. I need to fix it. Much sadness. Mucho sadness. Anyway, my Taipan apparently got a little destroyed right there on the corner. I'm not super in love with that. So hopefully I'll be able to repair some of that. But yeah, this is just the Asian Saga. James Clavell's an amazing writer. I really enjoyed Shogun after finally getting to it. And this one is just, I don't know. I'm waiting for the moment for the historical fiction to just reach out and like say, hey, it's time. It's time to come back to historical fiction. It's time to read it. And for that reason, I just haven't yet. But, I mean, this book is, I'm convinced that book is going to be awesome. And then closing out the list, we've got Robert McCammon's Swan Song. This book bullies the crap out of me. It has just been mocking me. It's at 860 pages for this edition. Despite the fact it looks like it's 1,200 pages, they've used a very nice, thick paper with it. So it looks thicker than it is. But, man, I've been hearing about Swan Song for a couple years now. And, you know, it's supposed to be comparable sort of to The Stand. I really enjoyed The Stand. I've got the audiobook version of this as well, but for some reason I've just never gotten around to trying it. And so I'm kind of hoping that this is the one that wins. Like, I'm not going to lie. I'm not trying to influence you. at all. But I'm kind of hoping this is the one. We shall see, though. But guys, that's all I've really got for you today. Please let me know in the comments which one of these, or multiple ones of these, I should be prioritizing, and I will try and read it before the end of the year. That is all I've really got for you today, guys. So I hope you are doing well. Till next time, peace out. Stay magical. Bye. And as always, I want to give a huge thank you to my patrons. Thank you for supporting my passion and my hobby.